City. And we had a big crowd, and my son was my tag team partner, and we won. Then the next bout was in Yokohama, and my opponents was Giant Baba, my boss, and Ricky Dozan Jr. Ricky Dozan was the first guy I wrestled in Japan, and now I'm wrestling against Ricky Momota. Momota was the family name of Ricky Dozan, but he never went by. He was a sumo wrestler under Ricky Dozan, and he used his sumo name in pro wrestling. But he was Ricky, or I don't know, Momota anyway. His last name was Momota. And I wrestled Baba and Momota in Yokohama with my son as a tag team partner. And like I did with his father, I beat Ricky Momota with a figure four leg lock that night. And then the following night was July the 29th, 1993. I wrestled a six-man team match, and the match was Giant Baba was my partner, my son was my partner, myself. And if I had to go out as a career, I had a great time. I mean, I had a lot of fun. The matches were a lot of fun, and I was tag team partners with my son.
And everything leading up to that match, when that match was over, what went through
I
you?
was done. They carried me from the ring. There was lots of tears. You'll see in some of the photos, the last match as I leave the ring, one of the #1 TV commentators is Tokomitsu, and he is just crying his eyes out at ringside. Of course, I was crying, and my son was crying, my daughter was crying, my wife was crying, but they were tears of joy, you know, because I had a great time. Japan treated me terrific. I had a great time in Japan, and I actually have as many friends in Japan as I have in the United States.
I got one more segment coming up, and I'm going to show you that match right now. This final match right here. And again, we're going to see how everything finished up for you, the Destroyer. So let's take you to that match right now. We'll be right back.
Fans, sports fans, Wrestle Blast fans, and all alike. Joey the Bruiser, Tanner Brusso here, back with Dick the Destroyer Beyer as we call some more action. And hope you're enjoying this DVD that we're presenting to you on the legend Dick the Destroyer Beyer as we get ready for our next match, and as we see entering in the ring, the giant Shoei Baba, great rival, legend, and friend to Dick Beyer. Dick, what are we seeing here so far?
Well, right now, this is my sayonara match in Japan, and Giant Baba chose to enter the ring first, which is usually very unusual. And then I'll be entering the ring with my former tag team partner in Japan. That Japanese up there, it kind of says "Otsukare-sama deshita." And now that's the names of the three wrestlers on my side, Giant Baba, the Destroyer. And the Japanese boys are in the ring, and now this is my partner and I coming in with Don Manukian.
Okay.
Baba says you can bring in over anybody and they'll pay them their transportation and so on and give them a payday. So I chose this Don Manukian. Manukian went to Stanford, played football at Stanford, wrestled at Stanford, was roommates with John Brody. And a very intelligent guy. He's Armenian. He's about 5'7", weighed about 250, but one of the funniest guys you'll want to know, and a great guy. And he and I were tag teams in Japan in the 60s, and was a great tag team partner. So I chose to bring him over. I could have brought my brother-in-law, Billy Red Lyons, but at this particular time, I thought that Don Manukian would have been a better partner.
Now, as we see, as you take the mic and
I'm going to introduce.
sing some
I'm going to introduce. Don Manukian.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the greatest tag team partner
a partner ever had. An All-American at Stanford University football. He played football with the Oakland Raiders. My former tag team partner, Don Manukian!
Big introduction that time for him.
That's the way they express their announcement for the ring. So I wanted to, and we're out there and we're just having a he's this guy. It was really funny. Well, all the comments he was making. He's a funny guy.
And there again over by the giant Baba, and of course standing
Well,
heads and
no.
tails, not over not only for you, but everyone that's in the ring.
Yeah, he's 6'10" and was a pitcher for the Tokyo Giants before he fell through a glass shower door and severed the tendons in his elbow. So he was a great athlete, so he went into pro wrestling. Now these are all, this gentleman here, you got Fuchi, who is in the background. This here is Inoue again. And I can't think of the boy on the other side, but that's Fuchi there.
Okay.
And I broke him into business when he was 16 years old. So we kind of handpicked the boys we wanted to work at. Kurt trained with one of the boys. One of them is a fairly old timer. And now, you see that where Baba pushed me back?
Yep. Oh, yes.
Normally, Baba gets introduced last, but they introduced me last because this is my last match. And
of course the streamers come in. Great tradition in Japan.
yes, there's Manukian's wife and my daughter, Mona Chris. And I think I got a wife out there too. I don't know where she was. Where were you?
In the area, I'm sure. Okay, getting things and going to start talking over some of the strategies going on here.
Well, like I said, it was just a lot of fun, as you can see, talking back and forth between Baba and Manukian and my son. It was kind of.
the
This is
classic
a-
checking of the boots.
This is a sayonara match for me, and like I said, just very enjoyable. I trained pretty hard before this match to get myself in pretty good shape to get into the ring because I had my 63rd birthday on July the 11th, and this is actually on July 29th, 1963. Or 1993. holy
1993,
cow.
there you go.
1963 is when I had my first match over there against Ricky Doza, and this is 93. And
So these sayonara match right here is
we
calling
do
career.
we do a Junking Poi here, I think. See,
Almost like a
who
rock,
is-
paper, scissors, it
yeah,
looks like.
who's gonna start? So no, Baba, he is. I know he's not gonna start because he can't wait to get out of the ring. So I started.
And he'll get things underway. A great six-man tag match here as the bell goes, and we are underway. And starting out once again,
As a six-man team match, this turned out to be a pretty good wrestling
Yeah.
match. A lot of times you'll get a match like this here, and you get six guys in the ring all the time. We kind of. This is kind of a cute little expression here.
and the strut, of course.
I do a little move, and this is the, talk about Ric Flair we talked about earlier.
Right.
Ric Flair, he always says, I got to talk and I got to walk. And I says, Rick, I says, you got to talk, but you ain't got to walk.
Very
I
good.
learned that from Buddy Rogers, and Buddy Rogers really had a good walk, and I learned it. And Flair, when he was in college in Minnesota, he watched Dr. X. You know who Dr. X is?
Gee, who is Dr. X?
Yeah.
I don't know.
somewhere along the lines, you might find out that masked man in there wasn't good enough for Vern Gagne, and he wanted another masked man to come to Minneapolis.
Right, right.
So
It was touched upon. Yes, it was.
and anyway, here we go. We're getting something from a director here.
Oh yeah, we're just talking about how the match is progressing, and talking about also Dangerous Dan Spivey, future son-in-law, or your son-in-law, as we saw your daughter earlier.
Well, that's come and gone.
Yep, yep. That's been here and no longer there. That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's right. And unfortunately, Spivey tried to get not child support, but alimony from my daughter. You believe
Not
that?
going to work that way. Not in this day and age, sure.
So anyway,
Yeah, here we go. Now it looks like your son Kurt right again in the ring, and we just saw him from a previous match, and again that factor of not only improving but again trying to get the upper hand and the cobwebs out, and looks like he's doing all right for himself for the moment. But right now legs are akimbo as he tries to break out of this hold, making a little wish. It looks like. Dicko, shouldn't you kind of be in there, making sure your son's all right? What do you think?
well, if I thought he was in some kind of a difficulty, I'd be in there. But
Well, we don't see Baba making his way to limber in there really
Baba's,
quick. Now they're working on the leg a little bit here as Kurt trying to make his way through. You stand there with Giant Baba, and you know that this being your final match. What's going through your mind right now? What are some of your thoughts as you know that this is coming up to the end?
Well, you know what? I'm not even thinking that this is the end at all.
Okay.
This is a match, and we're going to go out and do the best we can. And this here is something that I've trained with this guy here many times to get him to the point how he could do that flying head scissors. So I wanted to make sure that in this final match we could see if we could get it done right.
Well, that looks, the teacher taught well, that's for sure. As we see Dick Beyer right now trying to make his way out, looking to do the little headstand, and miniature pile driver there. There's a nice little counter.
Yeah.
Still got it on pretty tight there, the head scissors, and yes, Dick been in that precarious position a couple of times, but of course the easy slip out and reversal that time as you got him tied up pretty good here.
That's a little bridge that we use in pro wrestling and in amateur wrestling. And later on, I'll tell you that I have a shirt out now that's called Bridging the Gap. And it's kind of got two connotations. One, bridging is as far as wrestling, and the other one being bridging as far as the culture exchange between two countries. Here's Baba in for the first time.
All right, well, it would be nice to say the quick and nimble Giant Baba, but that won't be the case this time. As he gets ready to take some punishment and deal it out with the big chop. Throwing him against the ropes, and there's the big boot right there.
That's called Judoku. Ju being, and Roku is 16. He's got size 16 boot. Do you know what? I coach high school swimming in Buffalo, and I got a high school swimmer that's got a 17.
Well, that must help out with the rear rudder. If
That's
kicking
right.
at the feet, right?
He's got a pair of built-in fins. That's excuse me. That's Baba's favorite move. He uses a lot of his height for leverage.
As well as he should. And now see that some of the tag comes in. You got to think some of these guys. Well, I don't know if I should be coming in here yet. Little double team action, couple of chops to Baba, taking him at will, and he just standing there and said, "Bring him on, bring him on." And there's look like a little Enziguri kick to the back of the head. He shakes it off and just goes into the neutral corner.
Baba doesn't move all that fast. At this particular time in his career. Now, he started in 60 here, right in Crystal Beach, Ontario. Fred Atkins was his trainer. So that was in 1960. So this So he's in wrestling right now, 33 years. And he didn't wrestle much after this. In fact, it's 2005. I just came back from Japan this past week, and I went to his 7th memorial funeral. So he must have died, if this is 2005, he died in 98. So if this was in 93, he only wrestled maybe 3 or 4 years after this. And when you're the boss, he didn't wrestle after this particular match. It's kind of like myself. I didn't wrestle too many main events. I did not too many championship matches. I did a lot of that when I was younger. Probably one of the few wrestlers in the wrestling business that held 2 national or heavyweight champions. I was the WWA World Champion, and I was the AWA World Champion. Now, Vern Gagne was champion a long time, but he only held the AWA. Lou Thez at several times held the... now this is a move that I think Kurt eventually hurt his shoulder on. I don't know whether he likes to think that he's 6'3" and weighs about 260, and he likes to think he can move like the Mexican boys do.
Little lucha libre style there. As Kurt now is on the receiving end of a body drop pin, 1, 2, and almost a 3 count there as he escapes. And yeah, well, you know, Kurt being seeing wrestling up to that point, I mean, trying to emulate a little bit of today's wrestling knowledge, but from what you were used to wrestling, trying to mix in a little bit of both and doing a fine job.
Well, I think he did it. This match here, he did a lot of nice moves, which is the final match that I had with him.
Ah, there you go. No, like father, like son, thinking, let's see, I'm one step ahead of you. Saying,
You remember that move I did a little bit earlier where I did the walking thing?
Right.
This Fuchi's going to pull it on me here in a minute. The fans got a big kick out of it.
And you talked about that in our previous interviews about how it's not a matter of just wrestling, but also entertaining the crowd, and especially in Japan, they like that mix of both the entertainment, whether it be comedy ring or the wrestling.
I think they like it in America too. They Red Skelton told me one time, he says, you got to make the people laugh and cry in the same story. Well, it's that way. Mr. Moto was a great amateur or a professional wrestler, and he would make the people laugh and cry. He could make the people laugh, and all of a sudden, here's that move I told you about. See?
Oh. But
See,
now,
the people got a pretty good reaction.
and that just brings our point right there. Again, a great entertainment value to the match, and yeah, showing essentially, and you respect that. You got me, touche.
I had my shoulder replaced, about 5 years ago. You can look at my right shoulder and you'll see there's a shiny lump on it. That's a football injury from Syracuse, and I can tell you when and where I hurt that shoulder, right on the football field. The part of the game, it was against Rutgers in 1950, and then it just built up a calcium deposit, and eventually it got to the point where it started to bother me, so I had a shoulder replaced about 2.5 years ago. And then a hip replaced.
Well, looking well here is that you got your opponent tied up pretty good. So the referee saw that it was a little leverage against the ropes, had to break the hold, and Kurt makes his way back in. Couple of elbows to the back of the head, snap mare, takes him down, brings in the tag, working him over there in no man's land once again as brings him up. Little headbutt there to Kurt. And now throw to the ropes, spring off, and a nice little elbow to the front. bringing him up again, calling out his tag partners, and again, the boot coming in, and a solid shot to the head to Kurt Beyer.
I don't think Kurt liked that.
I don't think so either, no, and especially this little double teaming right now, the referee's letting it go on a little bit. Again, another Enziguri kick to the back of the head.
That's Fuchi's favorite move.
And there's, of course, a little close fist. Ref saying that, no, don't like that, let's open it up a bit, but Kurt doesn't care, a little forearm to the chest. Little exchange going on right now. Here's a reversal into the ropes. Kurt bringing him up, and a power slam brings him down.
Yeah.